The Nintendo Switch Pro rumblings have been growing louder and louder and louder. This is like an earthquake that increases in magnitude every couple months, with a mythic console that has been discussed for years now. Some of you believe it's never gonna happen, but as we get more and more pieces of the puzzle, it really looks like the Switch Pro is imminent. And today's breaking news is the biggest one yet. It's talking about the size of the Switch Pro, and this comes from Bloomberg, a very reputable publication who's basing their information off very reputable sources that they have. This is not some 4chan post, this is not Reddit, this is not something you read on Twitter. This is Bloomberg putting their reputation behind this. And it's a confirmed report that Nintendo is planning a Switch Pro model with a 7-inch screen. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Smash that like button if you want to support the channel. Let me know in the comments down below if you're going to get a Switch Pro. This thing is supposed to have a 7-inch panel. Now, the current Switch is 6.2 inches, and the Switch Lite, I believe, is 5.5 inches. This guy, gonna be 7 inches. Now, we knew that Nintendo would be focusing their efforts on delivering more power for a Switch Pro, but the size of the system changing is a bit of a surprise to me. I thought that perhaps the form factor would stay exactly the same, and then they would be able to, have the exact same accessories and the exact same cases, and it would just be a more powerful system. But now this calls into question all of that. Will our Joy-Con connect to a 7-inch screen? Will it need totally different sizes of virtually everything? Now, the other option is that the Switch stays the exact same size and they just reduce all that bezel, which probably would be the preferable option. I mean, that's definitely the consumer-friendly choice. That's definitely what I'm pulling for you and me, so that everything we do own does work the same way, and that would be Nintendo's smartest play. It would not ruffle the feathers of their already existing fans, but the system would look the same. I mean, the bezel would be thinner, but form factor wise, it would be the same thing. And maybe Nintendo wants it to look a little bit different. But let's talk about why this is happening and what exactly is going down. Pulling up the article here, you can see that Nintendo plans Switch model with a Samsung OLED display, 7-inch panels starting production in June, and aiming to propel the Switch this holiday season against the Xbox and the PS5. So as you browse through the article, which there's a link in the description if you want to see it for yourself, Samsung is going to be mass producing this 7-inch display, which is going to be, here's the bummer of the video. Still a 720p resolution panel. Now, they're supposed to start in June, targeting 1 million units a month, and then they'll be shipping them off, apparently, to assemblers in July, and it really sounds like Nintendo is trying to get this thing ready for a holiday launch. They do say it will be a 4K system. We've heard, 4K with DLSS in docked mode. But I think it's a bit of a downer that it's supposed to have a 720p screen. That is a massive gap now between handheld play and TV play. Now, things could change, I suppose, along the way, and we'll have to wait for final specs. But if this is to be the case, 720p resolution versus 4K, how are developers, especially third parties, supposed to wrangle that? How are they supposed to wrestle with 720p and 4K? That's such a wide chasm. It's starting to be this problem. I mean, that's a bigger gap than the Xbox Series S and Series X, which we already know is an issue. Obviously, there are different factors between those consoles and this Switch and Switch Pro, and we'll have to see what the actual horsepower and, under the screen inner parts are like. But they're saying that, this display will help with battery life. They're saying it'll offer higher contrast, faster response time. They opted to go for a cheaper but less flexible display than what we see in high-end smartphones. Now, this is Nintendo, cutting costs. And in a way, that's a bummer, but in a way, it's a good thing. I think Nintendo is going to be really aggressive with the pricing here, and the fact that they are using rigid OLED panels, the fact that they are keeping them 720p tells me they want to enter this market probably in the $300 to $350 range. I don't think this thing is going to be super expensive. I don't think they're going to try to go toe-to-toe with the PS5 digital if they are keeping things this reduced for handheld play. But at the same time, they're going bigger with an extra inch. Do you need a bigger Switch? I mean, I guess the appeal of bigger is better combats the beautiful is better. You know, PS5 and Series X are like, hey, let's try to have the best graphics. We can do 8K, 120 frames per second. Look at all this shiny ray tracing. And Nintendo's over there saying like, hey, we're gonna put this massive screen in the palm of your hand. Now, I love both the Switch and Switch Lite. I think the Switch Lite is a very ergonomic, friendly, portable system, and I think the Switch has a perfectly fine screen. So for me, extra screen real estate is not something that I would have ever asked for. But when I think about the big, bold games coming soon to Switch, Breath of the Wild 2, Pokemon Legends, Splatoon 3, whatever else they have planned and up their sleeve for the holiday season, I mean, I'll take it. Like a more exposure to Hyrule in Breath of the Wild 2, like I'll take that. I can see things better off in the distance. It feels like I'm carrying around a mini iPad at this point. So in terms of making this thing more elite, right? In terms of making the Switch Pro more of the luxury option, you know, you are offering the 4K capabilities when docked, but what do you do portable? Well, if you're not gonna up the ante in the resolution, you better give it a bigger screen. You better say, wow, this is the best way to experience our lineup of games. You better say, hey, you wanna play some third-party titles on the go? Well, now they're bigger. All y'all that don't like the tiny fonts on Switch, now they're gonna be stretched an extra inch, and that should honestly help out some. And if they are able to do it without changing the overall structure of the Switch console, like they're able to keep the exact same housing and just reduce the bezel, to me that's the best of both worlds. It's keeping all your accessories in play, it's not making it like dramatically different, feel like a new system, but it's making it a better system. It's making it a higher end system, and it's gonna make the experience better because you will just get more game and less gross bezel. And another exciting thing about this is if production is happening in June and they're starting to assemble them in July, it means leaks are coming. Right, once these things start actually in the physical world, like we're gonna start seeing it probably before Nintendo says anything actual about it. And I don't know, just as a big fan and someone who's been following this for years, like that's got me pretty excited. And I know some of you are gonna be typing, maybe even right now, that this is not confirmed by Nintendo, this is just a website, I'm waiting till Nintendo says something, and that's fine. But every sign is pointing to this. You have major publications talking about this happening. You have industry insiders, okay? You have analysts. You have people in high places saying this is happening, here is what they're prepping. And Bloomberg talked about this last year. They talked about Nintendo getting production ready for this thing. And here we have even more details describing the display. So I want to know in the comments down below, are you excited about a 7-inch screen, a huge Switch? Or, I mean, do you hope it's just the same size Switch with less bezel? I mean, that's where I'm leaning. I'm bummed by the 720p. I'm hopeful for the 4K. And I'm excited that it sounds like this is happening this year. That they really want to go guns blazing into this holiday season when most likely Sony and Xbox are able to have more stock of their PS5 and Series X. Nintendo needs something to match that. They need something to bring the hype. And yes, new games will do just that. But a new piece of hardware that promises better performance, better battery life, bigger screen, more Marios, more Zeldas, more Splatoons, more Pokemons, and all of it looking lovelier than ever before. I think Nintendo is down for a big holiday season, and I cannot wait to see their full plans. Maybe we'll find out at E3, maybe we'll find out a little bit later. What I've been reading and hearing is that Nintendo doesn't want to announce this thing until a couple months before. So they could be saving up for a September reveal or an August reveal. I think it'll probably come out in November, the time that most consoles release, and I'm really excited. And I love that we got new details and we're finding out that, you know, hey, Nintendo is trying to do some things here. They're trying to make it bigger. They're trying to see if that'll make it better. Does it do it for you? Let me know in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll keep you posted on if anything else changes, develops, happens. But until next time, everybody, thanks again. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy out there. I love you a lot. SwitchForce out.